morning. Okay. Good Sunday morning, y'all. Sunday, the 5th of August, 2018. I invoke my First Amendment right to begin with here. Carl Jung, Man and His Symbols. I'm going to read from this again. Thank God for Carl Jung. Thank God for his thinking. If you want to be inspired, watch some of his interview footage. Thank God for this guy, Carl Jung. Thank God for Joseph Campbell. Hare Krishna. Seriously, y'all, I was very lucky to be introduced to their thinking in my early 20s, about maybe late teens before that. Lucky as all hell, seriously. Because this society, like I've been saying, it's profoundly sick, it's oblivious, has no depth psychology integration, has no shadow self-integration. So getting into this guy's thought, encountering him early on, I was very, very lucky. It was a synchronicity, really, and I could explain and go into that, but I'm not gonna right now, the whole story of how I came into contact with Jung's thinking. I'm not gonna go into that right now. I was gonna share a cash register synchronicity with you too, but or two or three, but it looks like I didn't bring them with me. Those are the little synchronicities that from where I work, when I notice time and the total matching each other or in some way or something like that, and it's always very uncanny, and it's always, to me, quite transparently, this is what these meaningful coincidences are showing, that God is real. God is now. That when you think about God and feel and believe and have faith in God equally, when you get both of them going, and your cerebrum, Sarah Abraham, this is when you come into knowing of God and you behold God in your presence, in your gift, your so-called reality. It's just as much a dream as it is reality. Truly. So I'm going to read from Man and His Symbols this Sunday morning for you. Relation to the self, okay? That's what I'm reading from here on page, well, this page isn't numbered, but 212, Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung. Man and His Symbols, the relation to the self. I'll put it here so I don't have my head down. I'm just being silly sometimes. I mean, it's the morning right now. It's only 9:11. It's 9:11 right now, and I'm a little delirious, and I'm going with it. Hare Krishna. I'm going with it. I get delirious sometimes, and I just go with it. I ride the wave. It's like. You gotta be, most adults are dull, they have no inner child, they have no wonder child, as John Bradshaw called, they have no contact with the wonder child. It's firmly buried within their adult ego persona, and they're always repressing everything, tucking it back, building the big giant mound of repressed material in the subconscious, unconscious. The relation to the self. Nowadays, more and more people, especially those who live in large cities, suffer from a terrible emptiness and boredom, as if they are waiting for something that never arrives. Movies and television, spectator sports, and political excitements may divert them for a while, but again and again, exhausted and disenchanted, they have to return to the wasteland of their own lives. When did Jung write this, right? When was this written? I'm not sure that Jung wrote this part. This is Jungian analysts and Jung compiled. This goes back to at least the 50s, 60s, right? So, the beginning of television. But it's like the same thing is everywhere now. It's just gotten worse here. We're in 2018, decades later. And what I wanted to talk about real quick was how valuable that analogy that Jung uses for faith in God and something beyond, or higher power, whatever you want to call it, and the therapeutic value of it, how his patients all got better when they adopted a religious attitude. So not a religious creed or dogma or, involvement in an religious organization, going to every Sunday to church, but having a religious attitude, a wall-to-wall, 24/7 religious attitude and sense of oneself. He referred to that, like, he used the analogy of salt. Like, even if you didn't know what salt was, your body would still need it, and it would still benefit from having salt in your food that you're digesting. This is the same thing with faith in God or higher power. Like, you don't have to know what it does, or even know that God, what God is, right? But having a faith, and faith is over here in the feeling side, the feminine. Having that is crucial to wholeness, and also to getting into balance with this proof analysis based side of consciousness. This is the proof analysis linear logic, and this is the feminine, this is the masculine, this is the feminine, lunar, receptive, reflective, non-verbal, non-linear side here. Where the society and system is so unbalanced with the left, it's not even funny. It doesn't even talk about it generally, and you come out and you talk about it, and people, it's like you're talking a foreign language to these people. They're so left-brain dominant and imprisoned. They have almost no inner life. I mean, this is the 50% outer, 50% inner. 50% illusions of the two eyes going out, and the 50% reality inward. Most of this society, people are all anchored on the outer illusion. I think that's healthy. Profoundly sick society. The only adventure that is still worthwhile for modern man lies in the inner realm of the unconscious psyche. With this idea vaguely in mind, many now turn to yoga and other Eastern practices. But these offer no genuine new adventure, for in them one only takes over what is already known to the Hindus or the Chinese, without directly meeting one's own inner life center. While it is true that Eastern methods serve to concentrate the mind and direct it inward, and that this procedure is in a sense similar to the introversion of an analytical treatment, there's a very important difference. Jung evolved a way of getting to one's inner center and making contact with the living mystery of the unconscious, alone and unaided. This is utterly different from following a well-worn path, like yoga. Trying to give the living reality of the self a constant amount of daily attention is like trying to live simultaneously on two levels or in two different worlds. One gives one's mind, as before, to outer duties, but at the same time one remains alert for hints and signs, synchronicities, both in dreams and in external events that the self uses to symbolize its intentions, the direction in which the life stream is moving. Old Chinese texts that are concerned with this kind of experience often use the simile of the cat watching the mouse hole. One text says that one should allow no other thoughts to intrude, but one's attention should not be too sharp, nor should it be too dull. There is exactly the right level of perception. Quote, if the training is undergone in this manner, it will be effective as time goes on, and when the cause comes to fruition, like a ripe melon that automatically falls. Anything it may happen to touch or make contact with will suddenly cause the individual's supreme awakening. This is the moment when the practitioner will be like one who drinks water and alone knows whether it is cold or warm. He becomes free of all doubts about himself. He knows, he has knowing. He's not thinking and feeling, he knows. Becomes free of all doubts about himself and experiences a great happiness similar to that one feels in meeting one's own Father at the crossroads. Thus, in the midst of ordinary outer life, one is suddenly caught up in an exciting inner adventure. And because it is unique for each individual, it cannot be copied or stolen. See, the difference between living one's life as Alice in Wonderland, or as Neo in the Matrix, or not, is a conscious or unconscious choice. Most people are unconsciously choosing the wrong choice, not to live their life as an adventure, but to live their life merely, not to search for an inner meaning to life, not to have a faith that's nurtured and cultivated within all the time, not just every Sunday, Sun's Day. Most people are making the wrong choice. They're choosing just to live for spending and buying, consumption, and physical material survival. That's only 50% of it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Shanti.